Purchase your tracks today.
Welcome back to your favorite competitive gambling show. I am your host, Josh Elliott. It's a new week, so we have two new participants that entered the betting arena. It's going to be a very prominent matchup, two knowledgeable sports handicappers. So strap in. It's going to be a good one. Let's see who is entering the sports betting arena. Now, in the red corner, he's one of the finalists of Call Your Shot 1, Most Improved Player of Season 1. Came back all the way from last place into second. Can't wait to hear what the model has for tonight. If they can't reveal the source, it's this guy. It's Job. But it's actually Sam. Sam, how you doing tonight?
Hey, how's it going? I'm grateful to be filling in for my partner, Job, who unfortunately can't make it tonight. But I have the picks from his, as you mentioned, his amazing model that we are going to go through in depth tonight. I've had a couple minutes to talk to Sam Fashion over here, who you'll introduce in a second. He's absolutely great guy, and he's taught me a lot about his categories already. So I'm excited to get into it and see how we clash.
I'm excited for this. I don't know about you, but I'm super excited. In the blue corner, this man is here to give you some esports picks. Esports is growing every single day. I talk to this guy, and he is the most passionate person I know about anything. He's more passionate than I am about baseball. Can't spell fashion without Sam. Well, you can't, but I mean, whatever. Sam Fashion, how you doing, bud?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm glad there's a couple Sams here. You know?
Sam Square.
The Sam
domination.
Takeover. That's right. Yeah, I'm excited
2
to
versus 1.
do some esports picks, bring something new here. Maybe teach some people some things. Maybe get you into something new.
Absolutely. And you know what, Sam Fashion? Mm-hmm. It is a very, very slow week in sports betting. So the degenerates out there are looking for some winners, are looking for ways to win money. So I can definitely see these picks being very, very valuable. So without further ado, today's format, 3 picks, 5 units each over across those 3 picks. Most profit wins. They can come up with a spread pick, money line pick, prop pick, total pick for any sport and any sport. Anything that they think will make you money. There are no rules except for one. Well, there are no rules, actually. But before we get going, we're making these picks for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and sometimes Monday. Games picked tonight could potentially have a line change or a value change. For example, the Bucks favored today, 4.5. Tomorrow, it could be 6.5 or the other way. It could go down. So bet with us now. Grab a drink, grab your friend, grab your grandma. I don't care. Let's have a great night, and let's make some money. Let's get her going. So let's go right to Sam from the source for his first pick. What do you got for me, Sam?
So the first pick I want to talk about is I believe we're going to head down to Florida. We're going to go down to Tampa Bay, and we're going to jump on the Tampa Bay Rays over the Atlanta Braves for a unit. One of the reasons we like this play, first of all, is Atlanta's coming into this game without Ronald Acuna. They kind of struggled in the last couple games after he went down. It was a big morale loss. And the Miami Marlins have kind of had – I don't want to say they have not had their number, but in terms of keeping the games low scoring, these have definitely been, competitive games. And when you look at the pitching matchup, I mean, I don't necessarily – I mean, let me move on. I'm switching picks. My apologies. I was moving into a different one in my head. They're facing
Okay.
I started talking about the Marlins. The Rays, my apologies, ended the first half on a relatively bad note, but their X stats looked good for improvement over the second half of the season. They also ended the first half of the season with a kind of a tough schedule, and really got beaten down into the ground. I look for them to come out strong into the second half of the season, and I think it's going to be a very pivotal series against Atlanta, because there are going to be so few series in the AL East that are going to be non-division series that they're going to become vital to be those little half games that you can take over the other opponents. I think the Rays management is ready to move forward and have a strong second half, and they've brought up a couple guys as well. I think that they're going to make a big difference when you talk about Taylor Walls and you talk about Wander Franco, and I believe they brought somebody else up as well in the infield. I think that the Tampa Bay Rays can definitely make a push for that wild card spot. I mean, I don't necessarily know about the top of the AL East, but I think this game and this series is going to be a kind of a prove-it start for them. And I think that that's how Kevin Cash wants them to play it.
This is a crazy line to me, considering that Atlanta is one game below 500, and Tampa Bay, I think, is 53-38 or something like that. It's just a kind of a crazy line. And like you said, Ronald Acuna is out. Why do you think bookmakers have Tampa Bay as underdogs in this?
Well, I think it's when I say that they ended this first half poorly, I mean they definitely ended the first half on a very low note. When you talk about that series against Toronto, which I know you were definitely happy with the way Toronto has been performing, and it kind of, as against a division opponent as well, it kind of stung them a lot. And
they lost that series. They lost that. Or no, the Jays lost that series. Rays won. They ended up winning that series 2-1.
Really? Well, I know their numbers were not necessarily spectacular throughout, and I know that the first game of that series was an 11-1 Toronto win or something in that category.
Yeah, something like that.
But I think what's really big about this that bookmakers are not really taking into account is how important Ronald Acuna is to this Atlanta Braves team, because with him, they're already a 1 game below 500 team, yet they keep getting this boost from the odds makers because they have so much talent. But the talent is not necessarily translating into wins. And when you take somebody like Ronald Acuna, who has a 3.6 WAR this season, he's worth 3.6 wins for this team, strip them away from that when they're already a game below 500, and then you tell them you have about 5 days here in this middle of the All-Star break to prepare for the second half of the season. Figure it out. And you know what they did today? They traded for Jock Peterson. Is that going to solve all their problems? Absolutely not. No. So I think that Tampa Bay really is undervalued here because their numbers looked bad at the end of the season, at the end of the first half of the season. But as you mentioned, they took that series against Toronto at the end of the day. They went 2-1 to finish that out, which means they won those last two after losing the first game in an embarrassing fashion. Mm-hmm. I definitely think that they have a lot of value in this game as dogs, and I think that tomorrow, when this game is played, I think we might see Tampa Bay at a favorite number, which is why I'm so happy about getting them at this plus 110 here.
Yeah, this is a line that it's a complete mismatch to me. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, Atlanta just hasn't been the team as like you said they're supposed to be, and now you take one of they have taken their best player out of the lineup. Just doesn't make any sense. But I mean, let's move on over to Sam Fashion. Now, Sam, I want to go to your first pick, but all of your picks are for CSGO. Yep. Now, there's a big tournament in Germany. I want you to just quickly explain to the viewers, kind of what CSGO is and the tournament itself. So if you can actually just start that out, and then we'll go right into your first pick.
Sure thing. So CSGO is a 5-on-5 first-person shooter type game. If you've played Call of Duty, it's kind of like search and destroy. There's a bomb to be planted, so there is attackers, there's defenders. First to 16 rounds wins the game. You can either win a round by eliminating the entire enemy team, or if you're attacking, plant the bomb, make it explode. If you're defending, stop the bomb from exploding. So first to 16 wins. A lot of these are going to be really close matchups where it's going to be going into the 30th round. A lot of times, we have a couple big players that have been doing really, really, really great. Gambit being one of them. They've been just destroying these leagues. And there's going to be a lot of stuff you guys don't understand about it, and that's basically what I'm doing, sitting here listening to baseball. I know nothing, unless you say the word home run, then I'll start getting it. But Gambit, so what they're doing here is they're going to do best of 3. They're facing off against FaZe on Friday. I think they're going to take the series 2-0. It could go to a third game. That's kind of the point of that. But I don't think it's going to get there. I think Gambit's going to take both the first 2 games. I could obviously just bet on Gambit just winning against FaZe just in general, but that's not going to pay out anything because I think everybody's already assuming Gambit's going to win. They've been on fire recently with previous tournaments, the playoffs, all that. So I decided to go with the bet of they're going to shut them out. They're not going to let them get a single map. It's going to go 2-0, and they're going to take it. They've been so hot. I mean, I could say players' names, but you guys aren't going to know anybody. Hobbit has been killing it. Shiro, Nafany, it's just been an all-star team. So I think it's a pretty safe bet, but I think they're going to win no matter what. But 2-0, I don't know. The numbers. What was it? 2.2 in decimal.
So in decimal, yeah, it was 2.2 odds, but
yeah. So
Sam,
plus 120.
Yeah. So Sam Fashion, he's in the decimal odds, and that's okay. We don't odd shame here.
Good, because I don't get the fucking American thing.
Not a lot of people do, brother. But just quick question for you. So every map we go to, it's first to 15, correct?
It's first to 16, so they're going to play.
Okay.
They're going to play 15 on attack, and then they're going to switch to defense type of thing.
So how do you do you think so you think Gambit's going to just absolutely dominate in these? Like how many games do you think FaZe is going to get? Do you think these are going to be kind of close maps?
Honestly, I mean, they might be slightly close. I mean, I don't think they're going to completely shut them out. 16-0 both maps. I mean, FaZe is still, a top contender, but they're definitely not the favorite to win. I can see it going pretty heavily both maps. I mean, if it does go to 3 maps and I lose the bet, whatever. But any of the maps, I think they're going to be somewhat close. But I can see Gambit, over double, like a 16-7 type situation. I don't see FaZe as someone who's going to really step up. I think they probably know. They're going against first game of the finals Friday 9 a.m. first game. They know they're going home, but I'm sure they'll play their hearts out. But I think it's going to be 2-0, and they're going to get a few rounds. If they get a couple lucky pistol rounds or good buys, there's a whole economy system of if you get more kills, you get more money to buy more guns the next round.
That's a very cool aspect.
That's how you're really going to have a lot of risks. So, I mean, especially if you like the betting thing, like, are we going to save one more round and get real good guns, or should we buy up and really try to take it right now? You really got to play with it, because if you go into, the enemy team has 15 rounds on the board, they need one more, and you don't have any money, you're pretty much done. You're playing with pistols and knives, while the enemy team has everything. So, but Gambit's going to take it. It might be close. I'm hoping for a good game, but I see him taking it 2-0. Don't need map 3.
I like it. And for plus money, there is some plus money value. So, I mean, and quickly before we get going to this tournament is starting fairly early in the morning. I want to say, was it 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or something like that?
10, yeah.
10,
every
okay.
day, 10.
So, yeah, so jump on it now if you can, or if you're early riser, jump on it early in the morning. So, Sam from the source, what are we going with for your second pick?
Yeah, the double Sams must be a confusing thing as for the host. I feel bad.
Over here.
I'm sorry. For the second pick, we're going to stay in Florida, which is one of the reasons why I had trouble keeping my mind straight. The other one being I'm so excited about the pick, and that is the Miami Marlins at the Philadelphia Phillies. That's also tomorrow, by the way. The reason it says no value yet is there's no line that has come out yet. We're almost certain it's going to come out at plus odds because the Marlins are 39-50. The Phillies are 44-44. The Phillies are at home. They kind of ended the first half on a good stretch. The Marlins their pitching was strong. Their offense not so much. We're gonna go into this pitching matchup a little more in depth. And Sandy Alcantara is someone who's been a very strong pitcher this year. He's kind of flown under the radar, as have a lot of the pitchers on the Marlins because of the success of Trevor Rogers early on and how he's kind of stolen the show. Pablo Lopez has still been a very strong pitcher, and so is Sandy Alcantara. All his numbers, I'll just give a few. His FIP minus is 89, and his xFIP minus is 92. Just for context, the MLB average for those is 100, and you want to be below those as low as possible. So, like, for example, Jacob deGrom's is like 40-something. It's ridiculous. So Alcantara is an above-average pitcher, and the numbers back that up. Meanwhile, he's going up against Matt Moore.
Matt Moore?
Yeah, Matt Moore. You remember Matt Moore? He
He's
still exists.
He's like the nicest person ever.
Yeah, no, he's very, very. I'm sure he's a very nice man. I'm not going to say anything against him, but I don't think he's necessarily being a nice man doesn't necessarily make you a great pitcher. I don't know if that's one of the qualities that really puts a 95, 98 fastball past somebody. Yeah. But what I will say is I do think that they might go into a little bullpen style game, or he might be an opener. But whatever the case may be, he's a lefty with a high ERA, high FIP, who throws a lot of hanging breaking balls. There are a lot of guys on Miami, right-handed power bats, Garrett Cooper, Jesus Aguilar. There are a lot more. I mean, Starling Marte is there. John Birdie's now a power bat, but he's good against lefties. There are a lot of guys who can hit those hanging breaking balls, and I think they're going to jump all over him. A quick start to a game for Miami with a good starter on the mound often leads to success for them, especially when you have a guy like Sandy Alcantara, who you know is going to be able to go at least 6-7 innings and give your bullpen not too heavy of a workload at the end of the game. And when you talk about the Phillies, yes, they had a good end of the first half of the season, but I also don't necessarily think that their numbers are going to hold up. Their stats, their expected stats are much lower than the stats they're currently producing, which makes me look at their batted ball events. And it turns out that a lot of their batted ball events are not necessarily hard hit balls or not necessarily balls that have been high expected batting averages off them, but they kind of just bloop into place. So they've been getting a little lucky on their end. I think that the second half of the season is a great time for that luck to kind of reset, especially at the All-Star break. And I think that a team like the Marlins, who even though they're fifth in the NL East, they're only about five and a half games behind Philly. So a 3-game series against them here is very important. Mm-hmm. If they take this series, they could move up in this very competitive NL East in which everyone seems to be a buyer and nobody is a seller. So it would be very interesting to see what happens, especially since Starling Marte, their main guy who everyone said was going to be a trade piece, said he wants to stay on the team. I kind of like that team camaraderie aspect. I think the Marlins are coming into the second half strong, especially with a strong starter on their side and everybody at their disposal in the bullpen. I just feel like whatever number they come out at, let's take it at the plus money.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that will come out as plus money. And Miami actually hasn't I don't think they're as good as they are as good. How am I trying to word this? Their record doesn't show what their true abilities are. I think they're kind of they're not playing up to their standards a bit. I think they can actually kind of have a big second half. I do like it. Philly, I don't trust right now. I mean, they're one game above 500, but they're very an untrustworthy team. Miami can play with teams, and they have so far in the first. So I definitely see a strong second half from Miami. So that brings us to the halfway point. You guys know what that means. That is the player pick of the week. When shopping online, www.playergolf.com, make sure to use promo code BETTHEOVER for 20% off. I'm obviously wearing the hat. I'm always wearing the hat. I always wearing their gear. Make sure to check them out. They don't just have player stuff. It's athletic stuff. There is golf accessories. But, I mean, just check them out. I'm sure you'll find something on there that you love, and just use the promo code BETTHEOVER. So the player pick of the week is going to be the Toronto Blue Jays run line at -125 against Texas. They're actually at home to Texas. This team, I mean, they started off pretty decent. Got a little sluggish into June, but in July they kind of came back a bit. That being said, they were playing Baltimore, I think, 10 times in the month of July or something like that. But I have a very good feeling that they're going to have a very, very hot second half. They have to. I mean, they're not going to be wasting any. I don't want them to at least to waste Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s year that he's having. I think they need to start buying soon. They're going to be buying arms. Mark Sprouse came out and said that they will. But, I mean, they got some pretty easy games coming up here, one against Texas. And then they got Boston for 10 games. But, I mean, we'll get it on a lot later, I'm sure. This isn't a homer pick. I truly believe that Toronto can win this game by 2. Robbie Ray is on the mound. He's been actually lights out these last couple of starts. So give me the Toronto Blue Jays run line at minus 125 for 2 units. All right, Sounds Fashion. What do you got for us for the CS Go second pick?
Second pick is going to be a very risky one, but I'm going with Virtus Pro against Astralis. Virtus Pro to win. Just overall, I don't know what it'll be. I think if that comes the case, it'll be a close one. Astralis was hot for the longest time, and I think something's going on where they have lost the drive. Maybe it's not as exciting to them anymore. I mean, they're playing video games for a living, but there's always drama behind the scenes. I think they haven't shown up in the last, since the big bad pandemic happened, I haven't seen them show up. They were the hot team, and their roster's still about the same. They got Dupree, they got Magisk, they got Glaive, they got Zippix, they got everybody that they've had. It just seems like these guys are maybe growing out of it a little bit more. These younger guys are stepping up. So I do have Virtus Pro beating Astralis, 1.5 credits on that. I think there's quite a few good players on Virtus Pro, nothing too stand outish for me. But there is one player that I'm not really familiar with named Sanji, who is, I just noticed before this, is in the red with all his stats, not looking good. I don't know who that is, and I guess I really haven't noticed him while watching, but probably because he's not making the plays. If he steps it up, I think they can take Astralis. It's gonna be a tight one if it's gonna happen, but Virtus Pro, I may have done it before, and they're looking good this series, at least in the last 2 weeks. They've been looking good. I think it could be anybody's game, but I'm going with Virtus Pro just on the fact that I don't think Astralis is all there. Mentally they're not all in it with their heart. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, absolutely. And plus money there as well, as it sounds like some of these games, if you got some pretty even teams, some of these games can go either way. It sounds like you strap in. This is going to be a good matchup.
Yes,
a very good one. So we're probably going to see some tight games getting up to that 16 game mark. But yeah, I don't
want to watch.
I don't know anything about this, but what you're telling me, it sounds like especially this one, this could go either way, and laying the 1.5 units on Virtus Pro for the even money is a smart bet because, like you said, it could go either way. So
correct.
It sounds like to me. What I was just going to say. What it sounds like to me is, it doesn't matter if I know enough about the sport or not. Any team that's not giving enough or not caring enough about what they're doing, and while the younger guys are, giving their all, that's something to look at when you're talking about advantages. So
100%.
Definitely understand that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love the pick. I'm going to be tailing these, by the way. I can't wait to tail these.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to the last round here, fellas. Let's finish strong. Sam from the source, we had a little late addition or late switch on this last pick. What's your third pick, and tell us why you had to switch it up?
Okay, so real quick, I just want to, just in case this is the case, Job's original pick here was the Boston Red Sox to win the series against the New York Yankees at minus 140. That was when he was going on the show. I am a New Yorker, if you can tell. I am a Yankee fan. There's no way I could ever put my credibility on the line like that and outright say on a live stream that the Boston Red Sox are going to beat the New York Yankees in a series. So we had to come up with something else, and we both agreed on the under. And I think the under is a very smart pick. When we're talking about, by the way, we're going to clarify because there are going to probably be 2 games tomorrow. Yeah. We're talking about the game that is scheduled for tomorrow. So probably going to be game 2 of whatever the doubleheader is. And that's going to be Martin Perez versus Jordan Montgomery. That's going to be the pitching matchup that we're sticking with. And one of the reasons, or many of the reasons, one of them being the Yankees just had a big COVID diagnosis. Aaron Judge, Gio Urshela, both on that list. There are other players that are unnamed, but those 2 have COVID and are on the COVID protocol list. Those are 2 of the Yankees' best hitters and 2 of the biggest run producers in clutch situations that they have. Some of the in some situations, in some stretches, the only ones. So to lose them is a big loss for the Yankees. And when you add in that we're coming out of the All-Star break, both teams have strong pitchers on the mound. Montgomery's been consistent for the Yankees. Perez has been surprisingly consistent for the Red Sox. And both teams have their full bullpens at their disposal. Seeing as we're only going 7-inning games, the starters are probably going to be able to take up the bulk of the first one. And now you get to the second game, you get to use your entire bullpen. So I think they're going to take advantage of that, especially since the Yankees had to change starters for the first game against Edrod. They're going to really look to the bullpen in the second game to really carry them on if Jordan Montgomery can't carry the load. But even if he can, I'm sure he's going to be consistent enough. He's had good numbers this year. So we really like the under here.
Yeah, and I was going to say, it's not like New York, the Yanks have been hitting the lights out offensively. So the under is definitely a safe play. But that being said, Boston, I think, was averaging right up around 5 or 6 runs a game leading up to the All-Star break. So, but, I mean, yeah, you take those 3 guys out to those 2 guys, Gio and Aaron, that's a big difference. And that 9, we're pretty certain that line is going to be 9. What would you play it up to, Sam?
Well, actually, I realize now
what would you play it down to?
It's a doubleheader, so I'm realizing now as a 7-inning game, as a 7-inning game, they're probably going to have it as a lower number.
7?
Probably about, I'd say 6.5 maybe. I still like the under. Reason being is that I don't think the Yankees necessarily have the capability of scoring those 3 runs even off a starter. Mm-hmm. And I think the implied probability here would probably be the Red Sox to have 3.5 runs and the Yankees to have 3.
Yeah.
I just don't necessarily know if I see the Yankees getting to that mark, especially in the first game where if they choose to, the Red Sox can use their full bullpen at their disposal, in which case they'd have Whitlock, they'd have Ottavino, the former Yankee who's pitched against them well so far. Matt Barnes would be ready. Everyone would be ready to go. And as you've been saying, the Yankees have been swinging the bat absolutely terribly. When one guy gets over the Mendoza line, the other one falls below. No one can stay above 200 for too long. And even the best of the best who are left there now, I mean, DJ LeMay, who's having an under-average year for him. Giancarlo Stanton's in and out of the lineup, but when he's in at DH, and he wants to play the field. They're not letting him play the field.
No.
So there's disgruntlement there, and I think that the defense as a whole, Gleyber Torres has been one of the worst defensive shortstops in the league. I just don't necessarily see the Yankees coming out with a lot of firepower, and that's especially after what happened in that last game against the Houston Astros before the All-Star break, which we don't have to talk about, but we all know. We know how bad that was. So we like the under here. Whatever.
Yes or no, as a Yankee? Yes or no, real quickly, as a Yankee fan, are the Yankees going to be buyers, or are they going to be buyers at the deadline, or are they going to be sellers?
The part of me, my heart says buyers, my brain says sellers.
They're going to be sellers. Yeah.
My heart says buyers, my brain says sellers. I would love Joey Gallo or some left-handed bat. Because we have so many righties that could just help put a little diversity into that order. Then I think it could help a lot. But we have a very low chance to make the playoffs. And I mean, I know that we like to play whatever numbers we have. So I'm sure that the Yankees are going to become sellers. And just the last note on this game, if I would take it down to this 6.5 number, I think if it comes out at first, it might come out at 7. 7.5, and if you can get that, grab that immediately, because I think
down to 6.5. Yeah.
I think this is what the closing line is going to be.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. All right, Sam Fashion, bring us home with your last pick.
All right, I'll make it quick for us, but I wanted to make my final bet, the big 2 credit one. I want it to be for the final grand finale. I want G2 to win. That's a big bet because that's saying that they're already in the semifinals. That's saying that the teams I already mentioned go to the semifinals. Then G2 has to beat whoever they face off there and then beat whoever they face off in the grand finals. I'm saying they're taking it home, and I don't even know what's going to happen on Saturday yet. We don't know if they're even going to face anybody on Sunday. That's why it's a little bit of a risky bet. I think they're going to do it. Everybody's favorite right now to win is Gambit because they're so hot. G2 has been so good this series. I think they have they beat Gambit already. So Amanek's been on fire. He's been a player to watch for sure. If you do want to catch those games, they start on Saturday because they're already advanced to the semifinals. Watch Amanek. Watch G2 team in general, but watch Amanek, watch Hunter. If you don't know what you're looking for, just watch those guys and they will put on a show for you. I'm going to go with them winning the whole thing, taking the $400,000 grand prize home. It's a $1 million prize pool, and they'll take almost half of it if they win. So, and they'll share it all with me for making this bet. They're gonna give it all to me.
Wouldn't that be the icing on top of the cake?
That's right.
No. At plus 260 as well, you're making quite a bit of money on a 2-unit bet, and I like it. From what I've learned so far, G2 seems to be a pretty decent team, and I'm probably gonna lay some money on them to win. So quickly before we kind of do sign-offs here, Sam, Fashion, where can you watch the games? Do you have an idea?
Yep. So they are cast on a couple different Twitches. ESL CSGO, I believe, is the one, and then ESL CSGO B. If you go to Twitch and you just search CSGO, it'll be by far the top one. It'll be hundreds of thousands of people watching type of thing compared to the couple of small players. So just check it out on Twitch. You'll find it Friday, Saturday, Sunday at 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Eastern.
Right on, fellas. Well, I'm just going to do a quick sign-offs as well as confirm picks. All right, so Sam from the source, you're running with Tampa Bay Rays for 1 unit, Miami Marlins for 2 units, in Boston and New York under 6.5 for 2 units. Is that all correct? And where can they find you?
That is all correct. Whatever that Boston New York over/under comes out, take it. We're not necessarily sure what it will be, but I do like that under 6.5 estimated number. You can find us at Source Podcast 11 on Twitter or www.sourcepodcast.com. Thank you for having me on, Josh. Great to meet you, Sam. It's been a blast.
Absolutely. Well, you're always welcome to come on, especially if you keep winning. But I mean, you're facing a guy that knows his shit. Sam Fashion, you're going with Gambit to win by 2 at, I think that was minus, I gotta figure, I'll find the odds.
It was plus 120, right?
Plus 120, yeah, plus 120. I have them in decimal odds here, so bear with me.
2.2.
Curtis Pro money line at plus, I think that was, so decimal 2.25 for 1.5 units. G2 to win the tournaments at plus 260 in American odds for 2 units. Is that all correct? And where can they find you?
Is all correct. You can find me on Twitter at Sam IPOMB. That stands for I poop out my butt. You spelled it wrong on the thing, but it's a B at the end.
Shit, sorry.
That's all right. It's all right. Just remember that great phrase there. And I'm also on Bottom Fraggers podcast, which is a BCMG sponsored podcast as well. So you can check that out anywhere you find BCMG podcasts. There it is.
Yes, sir.
I was always wondering if that was an L or an I.
It's an I. I poop out my butt.
All right. Well, now I know. Yeah. I have been your host, Josh Elliott. This has been awesome, guys. I'm really happy for you guys to come on. The player pick this week is going to be the Toronto Blue Jays run line at minus 125 against Texas for 2 units. You can follow me at Josh Elliott 9 on Twitter. We're always posting daily plays every single day. Make sure to check that out. Now that MLB is back, you'll be seeing some more. But also check out The Open, some little golf bets for you. I posted those yesterday, but you still could probably get in on a few of them. Follow me on Twitter. Make sure to come check us out every single Thursday. Call your shot. We're doing episodes. We're bringing on other sports handicappers. So this has been awesome, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I hope all of you guys go 3-0. And we all make some money. So I hope everybody tails. Awesome, guys. Well, let's have a great weekend and make some money.
All right. Thanks.